Good afternoon. Thank you, Governor Raimondo, for this opportunity. We are gathered here for intentionality. We recognize that change is persistent, change is constant, change is inevitable. But one thing we also recognize is that change does not come overnight. And we recognize that our forefathers have been here for over 400 years that have endured harshness, that have endured slavery. We know the stories. We recognize the history. But today we have a governor that has identified that action is happening. We have a governor that has identified that this word Providence Plantation will no longer be on any letterhead in the state of Rhode Island. Now, I am not a Rhode Islander. I was born in Virginia. So I know where to go and where not to go. I learned the hard way. And they say it's better up north. But what I found out up north is that you don't know who to trust.
That's right. That's right.
See, it's no different wherever you go. Once you're born black, you're always black. But one thing we have to recognize is that as our young people begin to challenge us, they are now the Joshua generation. We begin to understand that Moses took the children of Israel out of Egypt. He led them, and God blessed them. God blessed them in such a manner that they walked out with gold and silver of their neighbors. They didn't realize their blessing. An 11-day journey took them 40 years because they murmured and they complained. They didn't recognize what God had done for them. And so as a result, instead of taking an 11-day journey, it took them 40 years. But because of their disobedience, what happened was God said, enough is enough. Because you failed to obey me, because you failed to trust me, you will not enter the promised land. But what will happen, your children will go into the promised land. Not even Moses made it into the promised land, because Moses at a point decided to do what he wanted to do instead of following God. So we are standing today saying that we have been given an opportunity. We recognize the governor's authority that she has taken. But it becomes our responsibility to fear God. It becomes our responsibility to understand and be obedient to the ways of God. I'm a firm believer that we stand on the promises of God. Not when we're in trouble, but when things are going good, God is still there. But we cannot forget God. And so we are not going to detain this time, but we are going to celebrate only for a moment, because there is more work to be done. There is more commitment to be done. There is more of us to get engaged and involved in what we are supposed to do. Yes, we recognize our history. We recognize the things that we've gone through. We recognize that it has been harsh. We recognize it's been tough. But we ain't had nothing like our forefathers and mothers. But what we have done is take advantage of what they bled, sweat, and died for, and we sat back and became complacent. So let's call it what it is. Yes, there is systematic racism. There are things that are not right. But what have we done to engage ourselves in our community? What have we done to be persistent in saying, I'm going to stand up for what is right, and I'm not going to tolerate it? But yet we have young people by the name of faith. The word says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But without faith, it is impossible to please God. And maybe faith is a symbolism of what we need to be doing. We need to be trusting in God. So I don't know what church you belong to. I don't know what your faith is. But I know that there is a higher calling. And we are not just here to be complacent. We are just not here to sit on our laurels. We are here. We are of action. We are people of action. Our governor has taken a step in regards to action. Our forefathers died. Our foremothers died, raped, killed. We know the history. But now we are the benefactors of progress moving forward. Progress is incremental steps. But that does not mean that we sit and watch faith. What we do, we join faith. We walk with faith. We hold up faith. When faith gets tired, we share with faith the rich history of our people. And so as we are gathered here today, we thank the governor for the stand that she has taken. We thank the governor for the action that she has taken. But now it's up to us.
Yeah.
After this is over, the work still goes on. As a matter of fact, the work gets harder. When progress is being made, that is when the enemy comes and tries to stop us. And so as we stand, let us somehow get close to one another within a 6-foot distance so that we can close in prayer. Let us stand. Let us bow our heads. Most gracious God, we are here of different ethnicities, different faiths, but we recognize there is a higher being. We recognize that you are in control of all things. We recognize that you are the great conductor, the orchestrator of all good and perfect things. And Father, we recognize that your ways are not our ways, your thoughts are not our thoughts, and we don't understand why we have to go through what we go through. But much of what we go through is because we don't listen. We are disobedient. We want to do things our way. So Father, as progress continues to happen, let us hear what's inside and what you have seeded in us, greatness. And as Faith and other young people began to lead this great march, the Joshua generation, bless them, bless us, bless this state, bless our governor, bless her staff. But Father, do not let us forget that you are in control. This is our prayer. Let us all shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. Amen.